Hey everyone, it's Darby from Blue Television Games. Welcome to the 1 hour 10 item challenge series. Be sure to post your 10 items in the comments below for a chance to be selected for the next video. Here's today's winner. He has chosen bricks, solid blocks, note blocks, mushrooms, stars, wings, spinies, munchers, pipes, and P-switches. And as always, in addition to these 10 items, I get ground blocks and checkpoints. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the creation process. The first thing that popped in my head was making a level that wasn't very flat. I wanted the level to both have vertical and horizontal challenges. There's a level in Super Mario Bros. 3 where you have to drop down to a single block, so I wanted to incorporate that as well. I toyed around with an alternate path with note blocks, which I ended up deleting later. I always like putting a power-up somewhere near the beginning of the level as well. I feel like players always kind of look forward to that extra chance to take a hit. I spent a lot of time laying this intro out. I wanted the level to feel nice and intriguing from the get-go. In this portion, I wanted to make sure you could make the big jump from the highest platform there. But for people afraid to make big jumps, I went ahead and added these two narrow platforms as well. My first idea for the munchers was to have them come out of pipes with wings, and then you could go under them or jump over them. Then I got the idea to layer pipes, and I thought maybe a superstar could come out of there and maybe you could jump on the muncher to get to a higher position in the level. I then decided that scrap that idea and instead I would have two different munchers come out of the pipe. One that would fly and one that wouldn't. That way it'd make it a little bit more of a tricky obstacle. And this is also where I included my first spiny. I went with the flying ones as they shoot out the little darts as an extra little hazard to dodge. I went ahead and copied my first pipe here and laid it out 3 times. I always think lots of repetition gives the level some style, so I like to repeat things throughout my levels to make them a little bit more memorable. Alright, for this section, I thought it'd be cool to go vertical and use note blocks to bounce up to each section. So here's a little playthrough of the setup I had, where you needed the note blocks in order to get high enough to get to each level. For the next portion, since I had munchers and stars, I thought it'd be cool to have a section where you had to be Super Mario to get through and jump across munchers. Here I am going back and just touching up the level a bit. Here's the muncher section. I purposely timed this out to where you had to be pretty exact to make it through here. Also considering that you should have a power up at this point, you also have the option of taking a hit if you run out of the star. So I think I timed it quite nice to balance that. I really wanted the sub-level section to stand out. I decided to use a pipe theme. I always think munchers go well with pipes. My initial idea was to have something with the muncher bouncing off a note block, and then you would have to somehow dodge it. I decided to make a big row of them. I liked the idea of having to run under them to dodge them. I played around with this quite a while and decided it just really didn't work that well, and that I would actually go with just a couple munchers at a time. They were still tricky to dodge, but because of how enemies load in Super Mario Maker, depending on how fast you went right, it could throw off the sequencing quite easily, so sticking to 2 made that go a lot better. To get back to the main area, I thought it'd be cool to block a pipe off with some bricks. I toyed around with a few different ideas here as well. And since we have P-switches, I decided you have to have a P-switch to access that pipe to finish the level. I also decided that this would be a cool place to layer pipes once again. That'd be cool for this pipe at the end to just spit out all kinds of things. I did this by layering the pipes like so. once you see it in action, it looks cool because it looks like one pipe is spitting out different things. I went ahead and added a bit more to this section. I hid munchers up in these blocks as just kind of a little troll. Here at the end with the pipe spitting out all the different things. Hit the P switch so you can go in the pipe. Decided to put my exit pipe down here, and then I begin finishing the level up. I wanted to stick with the theme of having to go vertical. Plus, if you still had your superstar or the P switch activated, this would make sure that it would run out by now. For a little bit more repetition, I added some more note blocks with platforms, so you had to bounce up like before. Here I included one last little power-up to help you get through the level. And once again, I thought it'd be cool to have a little spot where you drop down to a single platform. I decided to change the checkpoint section back here, so that way you had to hit the P switch to activate the checkpoint, and if you had already activated the checkpoint and the game reloaded, I wanted to make sure you had a way out, so I put a mushroom in there. So now we have our vertical section that we have to jump up and then drop down to the single block. And now for even more repetition, I decided to bring back these little pipes with munchers to the end of the level. It really gives your level a lot of character when there's parts repeated like this. It just starts to feel like a level that could actually have been in a game before. I always love seeing repetition throughout other people's levels, and when you stick to just a few items, the main point of this entire series is that your level just really comes together well. It makes you think outside the box, and a lot of times, you'll honestly end up making better levels if you limit the amount of items you use. You might not have to limit it to 10 or 12 items like we do here, but the basic idea is you don't want to get carried away throwing tons of different enemy types. For the end of the level, I decided for once again, I would layer a bunch of pipes with different items coming out, so it looked like one pipe shooting a bunch out. And once again, we would also use a P switch. You'd need the P switch to finish the level, because I blocked off the little box that you have to hit at the end. So the P switch actually gets hidden a little bit, so this part could be tricky if you didn't notice it. Now I'm going back and just adding some cosmetic details to the level to give it a little bit more style. Since I didn't have semi-solid platforms, I went ahead and just used background elements to touch up the little parts, which also added even more repetition to the level. Anywhere there was a hole in the ground pieces, I went ahead and added one of these little single things here. So I did more playtesting and then finally decided that I wanted to make a thumbnail for my level. So I always like to do pixel art for thumbnails if I haven't already capped out on my items. I decided to make a spiny since there's spinies in the level. I messed around with different items until I came up with this, and as you can see in the thumbnail, it looks like a spiny. The level is ready to upload. Here's the final version of the level. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is one of my favorite ones I've done so far in the 1 hour 10 item challenge. Be sure to post your 10 items in the comments below for your chance to be picked for the next episode. Let's go ahead and check out the level, and until next time guys, I'll see you around.